coach student, or whether you are a practicing coach, or whether you are trying to learn the ropes, doesn't matter. There is always something that we all look forward, which is the clients. So let's see, if we can add value to you in that journey to look at the business of coaching in a more structured way, so that you start building your capabilities and attracting clients in a more sustainable way. Of course, the hard work needs to be done by you all, but it's always good to have somebody like Aki who can tell us what has worked, right? And especially coming from not a pure sales or marketing strategic part of it, it's more from a coach who turned into a practicing coach and who started attracting the clients, and those live examples and experiential learning is what he is generously willing to share. Okay. So thank you, Aki, for being here. And before we get started, a couple of quick announcements on behalf of the chapter, if I may, just 2-3 minutes. So for those of you who are joining this session for the first time, please look out for our ongoing monthly learning and development sessions. The chapter has a lot to offer you to build your coaching skills and your knowledge. And we also look forward for you to share your knowledge with the rest of the community. So we have platforms like Coachability, where you can start showcasing what you have invented, what has worked for you with our community. We have an opportunity for you to showcase your blogs through the chapter's website. And you can also contribute in terms of book review. So like this, there are plenty of opportunities that exist within the chapter, and we always welcome any kind of contribution from any one of you. And because of members like you, we are able to thrive as a chapter. Okay? So thank you very much. Please make use of it. And in case if you have not become a member yet, or if you have not completed the enrollment renewal, please get in touch with us. We can help you do that. But I strongly suggest, being part of the mailing list, being part of the chapter, being, whatever way that you would like to engage with the chapter, we are here to support you. Okay. Thank you very much. And I wish you all a wonderful learning and practical takeaways from this session of Aki. Aki, thank you very much for being here. And for more formal introduction, I'll leave it to Aruna. And those who are attending this session, please ensure that you attend the full session in order to be eligible for the CCEUs. There is no password that we insist, there is no password that we provide, but your attendance to the maximum part of the session is what is the requirement for us to generate the CCEU certificate and email it to you. So there will be a link that is provided. Please respond to that link with your full name and the feedback about the session and your email ID. CCEUs will automatically come to you after about 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much. Go to you, Arna.
Thank you, Hanan, and welcome, a warm welcome one more time, everyone, and good to see you all here. And as Kannan said, yes, we will be awarding CCUs. We will be getting the CCU certificates within a span of 2 weeks. And for this session, we have 1.5 resource development units. So it is my pleasure to introduce Aki, our speaker for today. Many of you know him. Many of you have actually connected with him one-to-one. So just for those of you who have maybe heard about him or don't know about him, a brief intro. Aki is a certified NLP trainer, ICF coach, and international speaker. And he'll be conducting this masterclass for 1.5 hours today. And his expertise and experiences in helping coaches get clients and build a sustainable coaching business from scratch. As Kannan said, we all learn the technique of coaching, but then this is also another important aspect of the entire coaching picture, if we see, getting the business. Over the last 7+ years, he has worked with coaches from over 23 different countries to start and grow their coaching businesses, and collaborated with various ICF chapters, both in India and abroad, to help coaches grow their coaching practice. So let's all welcome him with a big hand, and Aki, the floor is now yours. So if you want to take questions in between or how do you want to go? Maybe you want to give us any breakout rooms. You just let us know so that we can support you.
All right. Thank you, Aruna. Thank you, Kannan, and thank you everybody who worked behind the scenes to make this possible. I'm really excited to be here and share with everybody what I have seen works and the clients that I work with in terms of how to get more leads and get more clients, and as a result, make more impact and income in your coaching business, right? So let me just share my screen and just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, awesome. Technology is something that we can never really have a guarantee. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, right? All right, so as everybody knows, the topic of today's session is 5 proven strategies to generate leads and have a consistent flow of paid coaching clients. And as Kannan mentioned, we as coaches in coach training and everything that we do after that, we're so passionate about coaching. But when it comes to the business side of things, that's when a lot of us struggle. And my story was more different. And today we're going to focus on the business aspect. Just to give a quick background about how I started doing what I'm doing in terms of helping coaches. Before that, let me give you the main takeaways, right? So at the end of this session, here are the things that you will have absolute clarity on. Number one, you'll learn the 5 proven strategies to organically generate leads for your coaching business. So everything I'm going to talk about is all organic ways. There is no paid advertisements that I focus on. If you want help on that, I know a few people who do that, but that's not my expertise. Okay. Second, everybody knows the importance of LinkedIn. Yeah. I'll share with you how to build a targeted audience on LinkedIn, what actually works, and how to actually build a relationship with them and convert them into paying clients. The 3 types of content every coach must post on LinkedIn on a weekly basis. So this is a topic that a lot of coaches struggle with. I struggle with it as well. And I share with you 3 distinct types of posts which actually create more engagement and more rapport and trust with your connection. Yeah? Next, why collaboration is one of the best ways to have long-term success in your coaching business. And finally, how to leverage speaking engagements to get more leads. So if that sounds exciting, please put yes in the chat. If that is exciting for you, put yes in the chat. Okay, all right. I will be asking for a lot of engagement, okay, interaction. It's not like me talking to a computer because it has to be interactive, yeah? So anytime you have a question, please raise your hand or click on the hand button on Zoom, okay? So quick introduction. My journey as a coach started back in 2017, and I used to live in Bangkok, Thailand at this time. And when I finished my ACSTS training program, followed by NLP practitioner program, just like most coaches, I also struggle in terms of how do I get clients, how do I go about my business, etc., etc. So after being lost for a few weeks, what I did was I managed to get a job with the same company from where I took my coach training. And we were a coaching and training company offering ICF programs, NLP programs, corporate training, all of this. So because I was part of this company, I managed to get my own life coaching clients after a few weeks of being in the company because I learned how the business works. And after almost a year, when I started to get results in terms of getting clients, I wanted to share this with other coaches. And I started doing trainings, live trainings. This is like before COVID. So webinars and masterclasses were not very popular those days. So I started doing live trainings. And since COVID and after that, I've done numerous amount of online sessions and worked with coaches from 23 plus countries, all based on focusing on the business part of being a coach. Okay. But there was a massive problem before all of these things happened, and that was obviously about lead generation. And I had a few questions. Perhaps some of you could relate with these questions. So the first question I had after my coach training was, where do I find the clients? Like, do you go online, go somewhere live? I don't know. I think someone has turned on their audio. If you could find out who it is and maybe, yeah. If you could
Let me
mute.
check and mute. Yeah. So
Okay.
request all the participants to mute yourself.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. So yeah, that was the first question. Where do you find the clients? Is it online? Is it offline? Is it LinkedIn or somewhere else? The second question I had was, should I focus on only organic ways of generating leads or run paid advertisements on Facebook or other platforms? Thirdly, can I really get clients through social media? Because I actually happened to invest with a coach and I paid him approximately 4 lakhs and nothing happened at the end of the 2 months engagement, and like all the money just went. And it just created a lot of distrust. And this was like my case. I don't know if you can relate with this, but I just did not have enough faith in the beginning on social media. And finally, is it even worth investing so much time on content creation? I'm sure everybody who's posting content knows how much time and effort it takes. So when I was not seeing any results, like I was really questioning the entire thing, right? So I'm just curious, what are your questions? So maybe let's say, what is your number one question about generating leads? Please put that in the chat. Your number one question. Okay, does it work for team coaching assignments? The first point, okay, constant flow, how do I convert a lead? Okay, Prem, just to be clear, today we are talking about generating the lead. Conversion is actually the next part. It's actually beyond the scope of today's session, but I'll still try to answer it. In case I don't answer it, please ask me towards the end. Okay, I'll give you my thoughts on that. Finding clients who are willing to pay. Okay, where do you start? Great question. We'll answer that. Anybody else? Any other question? Let's wait for one more. Finding clients who are willing to pay. LinkedIn has become too overcrowded and people are, aware of posting AI, content, how many coaches, organic leads. Wow, a lot of really interesting. Premnath, your question will be answered today for sure. All right, thank you everybody. Thank you for the engagement. So I want to start today's session by sharing with you the foundation, right? So I'm someone who believes in getting the foundations right. There are some things that, there are basically three things in terms of how business works, especially coaching business works. And one thing is principle. Second is strategy. And the third layer of it is tactics. Let me give an example of what I mean by that. So principles are things that never change. They're like constant. For example, as a coach, you're working with people, right? So we have to interact as a human being. So those are principles, that do not change unless, I don't know, maybe we get a chip or something put in our brain. I think that's not going to change. Principles, we're working with human beings. So the human touch, the human interaction are things that are going to be constant. Okay. Now, strategy is how we get certain things done, the steps to get certain things done, right? So for example, the algorithm of LinkedIn or Facebook, those are things that maybe we can't control. And over time, it needs to adapt and evolve. So for example, with AI coming in, we have to change our strategy a little bit, adapt and evolve, right? So tactics is about the on-ground minute details on how to execute certain things. For example, if you write a LinkedIn post, how to write the headline, what kind of headline to write, what kind of meat of the content to write, what kind of action, call to action. Those things are part of tactics, okay? But what I'm going to talk about is the foundation, the principles. And somebody asked in the chat, where do you start, right? So this is where we start. I'd like all of you to imagine as if this is your first day after coach training. And if you go with the beginner's mindset, everything I'm going to share with you will make a lot of sense and it'll be easy for you to implement, okay? So the very first thing you do before you even think about where do I get the leads from is to actually be clear about your compelling coaching offer. Now, very shortly, I'll explain what I mean by that. So basically, let me ask you this question. How many of you would agree with me if I say that just because you have a coach certification, that doesn't guarantee that you'll get clients? If you agree with me, please put your hand up. Yeah, I think most of us, right? So the reason for this, speaking based on my practical experience in the industry for almost 8 years now, people don't pay for ACC or PCC or coaching competencies, right? Especially if they don't understand what coaching is or what ICF is. They want to have a clear idea about what is it that you bring to the table as a coach. And that's what I mean by having a compelling coaching offer. I'll go into the details a little bit very shortly. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is your lead generation or attracting ideal clients. So you have to have a clear idea about what is the actual offer, what is it that you bring to the table. Then we look at where do we find the people and how do we get the people in the door. And the next part, the final piece, is the conversion process. So I'm sure all of you here are aware about discovery calls or chemistry calls or however you call it. So usually what we do is we invite a person for a discovery call, right? Or a chemistry call. And at the end of the call, we make a pitch about our services. So this is the process. I'd like you to visualize it in this way. You have your offer, then you get the leads, then you invite them for a conversation, and then you try to convert them. So this is the basic principle I want you to keep in mind. All right. So now that we talked about it, let me explain a little bit more about the offer. In order to generate leads, you must have a compelling coaching offer. Now, what I mean by compelling coaching offer is it is not enough to just speak about what certification you have or how many hours of coaching experience you have. Most people actually don't care about it. That's the practical reality, right? So here are a few things that makes a coaching offer compelling. Now, because we have a limited time, I'll do my best to make sure I communicate the practicality of this, okay? So the first thing in your offer, you have to be very clear about who your target audience is. Does anybody here have a question or a confusion about your niche? Anyone? If you have it, please put number 1 in the chat. This is a big question a lot of coaches ask, like, I don't know what my niche is. How do I find my niche? Anyone? Okay, a few people. So let me answer that question because it is very closely connected to the target audience, right? We know that coaching is for everybody. It works for everybody in every area of life. But here is the challenge. If you target everybody, you're actually targeting nobody. Because in terms of marketing, not just in coaching business, in any business, every successful business has a clearly defined client avatar, right? So what I'm suggesting, and this is not me saying it, it's what the industry has shown works. When you are starting your journey as a coach, it will really help if you start with a clearly defined target audience. Dr. Selvaraj, I'll come to your questions. Let me just share this, yeah? I'll come to the question shortly. So what you do is you start with a clearly defined target audience. And my suggestion, somebody asked in the chat, how do you find clients who are willing to pay, right? So the most practical answer that I have for that is target people above the age of 35. And the reason is most people are kind of settled at this age, right? And they actually have the money. Whether they want to invest there or not is a different question, but they actually have the resources. Yeah. So many times you might come across people who actually want your service, but they really can't afford it. Now that puts us in a very difficult position, right? So the practical solution is target people above the age of 35 because you want to make sure they have the financial resources. So be very clear about who the target audience is. For example, I coach mid-career women leaders, or I help entrepreneurs increase their revenue, something like that. Yeah. Second, specify the what, meaning the results and outcome. So this is so true, especially if you're working with, somebody asked about corporate, right? So when you make your offer as a coach for a company, for an organization, what they actually want are results. For example, they want employee engagement. They want to increase productivity. They want to reduce cost. They want to, improve the team harmony or increase sales, these kind of things. So if you really think about it, coaching is a process, right, that helps the client achieve a certain result. And that result could be improving their relationship with their spouse, maybe improving the relationship with their kids, or getting a promotion, overcoming their limiting belief, whatever that might be. So be very clear about what is the best result you can help your clients achieve. You don't have to target everything, but really think about it. What is the best outcome you can help your clients achieve? And one of the ways to really think about it is if you look back on your own life, if you really see that, right, a year ago or a few months ago, whatever challenges you overcame as a result of going through the coaching process yourself, a lot of people are struggling with that. So that is often a good place for you to start from, right? Because you've gone through the experience yourself. Or if you have worked with a few clients already, find the pattern. What are the results your clients are getting as a result of working with you? You will see a common pattern, trust me. So that can be a good result you can communicate to the target market, okay? Next is your backstory. So having this is very important. I'm sure everybody knows the importance of storytelling. So I'm not going to explain why that is important, but I want to emphasize on one point. When you make your pitch, when you make your elevator pitch as a coach, it's important that you give some kind of context about how you started doing what you're doing, right? For example, let's say you were a corporate leader who turned into a coach. You can say that, in the last 20 years of my experience, one thing that I was really passionate about was people, empowering my team members, etc. So when I became a coach, I wanted to make sure I work with, mid-level leaders or entry-level leaders to improve their potential. Something like that, something that gives your client a context into why you became a coach. How many of you have seen the TED Talk by Simon Sinek on Start With Why? It's actually a very popular one. If you have not seen it, I recommend going on YouTube and watch the talk. Start With Why by Simon Sinek. He talks about why you need to be very grounded in your why, in your backstory. Okay. Finally, describe the how. So I think everybody here is familiar with the GROW model of coaching, right? We're commonly taught about this in coach training. So having a framework or some kind of process to what you do really makes it easy for you to communicate to the client, like this is how the journey looks like. So I highly recommend that you have some kind of framework or a process, and don't just verbally say what you do as a coach. Show some kind of framework, because it'll help the client understand what is it that you bring to the table, right? So these are a few things that make a coaching offer compelling. There was one question. Let's take a question. I think Dr. Selvaraj had a question. Do you still have the question, Dr. Selvaraj? You can unmute yourself and please ask me.
Actually, you wanted for your agreement, so I just raised it, sir. There is no question for me. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you for your support. Got it. Okay, good. So here are a few things that on ground, in reality, clients really pay for, right? So there are basically 8 things that I've chosen for today's session. Number 1, tangible results. Now, I know that coaching is a very intangible process, and it's not easy for us to communicate what are the tangible results we can help our clients achieve. So I'll share with you what could be a practical way to communicate this, okay? For example, if you are a career coach or if you're a business coach, it is fairly easy for you to communicate it, because let's say you're a career coach, and if you can help your clients get a promotion or get a new job, that has a financial number attached to it, right? That is something that's tangible. Similarly, if you work with companies, organizations, or entrepreneurs, and you can help them to improve their business, obviously there's a percentage of increase in sales or increase in revenue or profit, right? That can be one way. So another way is this. I just spoke with one of my clients this morning, and she works with the women who actually, because of a lot of challenges, they feel like they are not maximizing their potential. So that is her niche. So one story she told me really stood out, and I thought I'll share this with everybody. So this lady worked with my client, and she's a PCC, and I think they worked for about 3 months, right? And when she asked her client, so what was the biggest change that happened for you? What she said was, I'm in a senior position in my company, and I was very hesitant to speak up during meetings. And as a result of going through the coaching process, I was able to identify a lot of my blind spots. And now I feel more empowered. And I started to speak up, I started to share my viewpoints. And recently I got promoted. See, you understand what I'm talking about? So there's always some kind of tangible result that the client gets. So if you have worked with a few clients, go back and ask your clients, what are the results they got? How many of you here are familiar with the concept of the wheel of life? If you are, please put number 2 in the chat. I think most of us will be. Okay, a lot of us. So in case you're not familiar, it's basically a visual representation of the different areas of our life, like career, business, health, wealth, relationship, etc. So if you're not able to get that answer from your client, one thing you can do is just get on a phone with the client and ask them literally, how has our coaching engagement helped you in your health, in your wealth, in your career, in your business, in your relationship? So that will actually help you decipher what are the results they're getting, right? And for your future clients, you can communicate this. So these are the results my clients have got, okay? Next, this is true. Saving time is true if you're working with the company most of the time. If you can show the company, the organization, how the coaching process can help them save time, it's very powerful in your proposal, okay? If you're working as a business coach or an executive coach, helping the business improve, making money, saving money, these things are important. This is something really clients pay money for, okay? Accountability. A lot of times when you meet with a prospective client, they might literally say this to you, that I want someone to walk the journey with me. So when you're making the proposal, you make sure that you tell them that you will be the accountability partner, because a lot of coaches don't say it. And if you don't say it, most of the time they don't know. So make sure you highlight this, okay? Next, have a strategy and structure. So this is true, especially if you're working with leaders, because a lot of these people are very logical. So they will want to have a structure and a strategy. And obviously, we as coaches know it's best to help them find what works for them. So you can highlight that, I'll help you find out what could be a strategy and structure that works for you based on your personality, okay? Breakthroughs. Sometimes people come and tell you that, I know I'm stuck, but I don't know why, right? So if you help them identify that, help them communicate that I'll help you figure out what is keeping you stuck and how to overcome that. It's very powerful when you make a pitch, when you make a proposal. Couple more. Support and safe space. I'm sure everybody's talking about this, the confidentiality part, and deep transformation. So deep transformation, in my opinion, is what sets apart coaches from every other, let's say, influencer or book or YouTube video. Because when you go through something that is not sustainable, you might see the change for a while, but then you slip back into your old habits, right? So when they go through the coaching process and actually implement all the learnings, take action, they can get deep transformation. Yeah. So make sure you highlight that. I don't know, you have a question?
Yes, Aki, actually, it's not my question, but from Sudhaka. Okay. He asked that, Aki, does client prefer coaches who is of more experienced?
Okay, very good question. So I'll tell you what I know, right? It may not be 100% right in your context, but I'll share with you what I know. So the first thing that the client really looks for is the connection, is the rapport and the trust with you. So based on what I know, if you can create that trust and rapport with them, and provided what they want help with aligns with your experience and expertise, it is absolutely okay. And sometimes some clients might look for somebody who is more experienced. In fact, during the discovery call, you can actually ask based on what they tell you. You can actually ask, right? Like be open and transparent. So if they're looking for somebody more experienced, maybe refer somebody else. But that's not the only criteria that they look for when they hire a coach. It's based on personal connection.
There's one more question. Well-being and mindfulness, does that count as a part of strategic planning too?
As part of?
Strategic planning.
Mindfulness.
Well-being and mindfulness.
Okay, great question. So in fact, I actually missed talking about that. So going back to the first one, tangible results. So there are some intangible results as well, right? So intangible results, for example, are becoming more mindful, becoming more confident, having more clarity, having more confidence. These are things that are intangibles, right? We can't really pinpoint and show them, but it has to be felt. So you can communicate this as well. Yeah, and that does count as something that clients really want. So ideally, if in your proposal, in your pitch, if you can show the tangible results and the intangibles, it'll really increase your chances of getting the clients. Okay, so can I move forward? Everybody's okay? If I can move forward, give me a thumbs up. Let's have some energy in the room. Okay, all right. So now we're getting into the main topic of the 5 ways to generate leads organically, because I really wanted to focus on the offer part, because if you don't have an offer, clarity on that, there's no sense, like that doesn't make any sense to talk about the lead generation part. Okay, all right. So there are 5 ways to generate leads organically from what I've seen works in the practical world. So the first one is warm reach outs. So let me stop screen share and I want to talk about this. Quick question. How many of you here have already got a few paid coaching clients? If you have got, put me in the chat and I'll tell you why I'm asking this. Okay, a lot of people, that's good. If you have not got it, no problem. So the first thing, the warm reach outs, I'm actually speaking to the coaches of I already got paid clients. If you have not got it, you will have in the future, okay? So one of the things that we coaches miss, and I did not know this in the beginning as well, when clients sign up with us in the initial engagement, oftentimes, I mean, most of the time, we do not follow up with them after that engagement is over. And when you do not follow up with them, you're actually losing out on, number one, creating more impact, and as a result, creating more income in your coaching business. So the first place to start with, if you do not have leads at the moment, is I would highly recommend get in touch with your previous clients, have a conversation, and like just like a normal coaching conversation, ask them what's going on in their life and identify if they're really struggling with some other challenge or problem. Because what happens is, if you've already got a paid client, it means you have the trust and rapport already. The hardest part is done. Yeah. So now if you really explore if they have any other challenge or problem, that gives you an opportunity to make another offer. So the key takeaway here is, do not stop when you make the first offer. After the first engagement is over, explore if they have any other challenge or problem and make another offer if they're open for it. Okay. This is something most coaches do not do. Yeah. And trust me, this is one of the easiest ways to get them onto a different engagement, provided they want that. And as a result of that, maximize your income in your business as well. So the coaches who haven't worked with any paid clients yet, don't worry about it. When you actually sign your paid clients, remember this, okay? Finish your first engagement, and after that is done, just maybe wait for a few weeks or so, check in with them, how they're doing, what's happening in their life. And if they're having any other challenge or problem, make another offer. And there is actually a core reason I'm sharing this with you. When you work with the client in like when you take up one offer or one program, and when you come out of it, it usually creates a different challenge for you. And I'll prove this. As a coach, when you were talking to the ICF coach training provider, doesn't matter which school you took it from, initially you had a conversation with them, yeah? And they told you about ACC, PCC, and MCC and all of that. So when you finished the coach training program, what was one challenge you had? How do you get clients, right? Now, this is what I mean by when you complete one program, it often leads you to a different challenge. And when you actually start getting clients, and at some point you get a lot of clients, you will have a different challenge. Like, how do I maintain this? How do I make it more sustainable? What should I do to make it more scalable? So I'll share with you an example from my own journey. So not that long ago, I was just working, everything I was doing with my clients were like live, one-on-one, right? And I was doing some cohorts as well. And at some point, it reached a level where there were a lot of inquiries, but I couldn't physically fulfill all the requirements. So through a friend of mine, I learned a strategy. And what I've done recently in my business is I have the recordings of most of the content, like what they need to learn in terms of information, right? So now when my clients come in, instead of doing all the things one-on-one, what I do is I give them access to the course where they have all the information on a learning portal. Like, for example, how to identify your niche, how to create your offer, how to get your leads. All this are recorded. It's a course with, resources, templates, etc. When they come to the one-on-one session, it's only about the implementation. So this way, it enabled me to save more time and serve more clients. So most of you will reach a point, not far from now, where you will have a different challenge. So at every point, when you finish one program, you will have a different challenge. And that's what I mean by warm reach out. So start with that. It's very powerful. Okay. How many of you found this insightful? If you did, put 1 in the chat. Okay. Let me have some water. Any questions on this, on the warm reach outs? Anyone? Any questions? All right. I take silence as a no. How do you approach? Pratishta, do you mean how do you approach your existing? Okay, got it. So if they are already your clients, what I like to do, and I've seen a lot of coaches doing, is over WhatsApp. Just send them a message and, okay, two years old. Okay. So what I would say is just however you were communicating before, right? Whether it was email or WhatsApp, do the same communication, check in with them. Hey, how are you doing? And let's connect. It's been a while. So go in with a mindset of really like genuinely wanting to know what's happening in their life, right? And it's possible that they may not want help with anything else. We don't know that yet. The only way to know is to reach out. So it doesn't matter how you reach out, however you're communicating before, do the same thing. Talk to them and then explore what's happening. And if they have any other challenge, and if we can help them with that, make a new offer. Yeah. After the initial chemistry, can we get someone to follow up? Prem, I'm not sure what you mean. Can you unmute yourself and tell me more about this?
Yeah, so basically, see, I'm planning to get a EA, and because there are a lot of other things that happens with me. Coaching is one of them, and then I'm finding it overwhelming. So let's say I connect with them, and then I get I put all the conversations on a Trello, and then I share it with the EA, and then I ask her to follow up and then fix up the meeting, that way.
Yeah, that is okay. That's fine, as long as the virtual assistant knows, really knows the outcome, right? I just want to share one thing here, because I've seen this mistake happening with a lot of people. When you follow up, don't try to sell anything, right?
Yeah, understood.
The job is to book a call, yeah, because coaching is a very intangible thing, right? And it's not a good idea to try to sell it over chat. Just wanted to share that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's move forward. The next thing is content writing. How many of, and I'm talking about LinkedIn here, because that is the one platform that I'm most active in and I know the most about compared to the other platforms. So I'm going to be focusing on LinkedIn. How many of you are, let's say, posting regularly? And when I say regularly, how many of you are posting, let's say, oh, I know some people have certain feelings now. So how many of you are posting at least 2 times in a week? If you are posting, please put me in the chat. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to share with you, it doesn't matter if you're posting once a week, twice a week, every day. It will help all of you. Okay, so let's really talk about this. So by the way, I'm going to talk about the content creation, assuming you have an optimized LinkedIn profile. And I'll explain what I mean by that. One moment. So when I say optimized LinkedIn profile, I mean your banner, your bio, your about section, all of that reflects who is the target audience, what do you help them achieve, etc., etc. And I'm sure some of you may not have it. So if you do not have it, please send me a connection request on LinkedIn. Last year I did a masterclass for a different coaching community. Some of you might be aware about Coaching Journey, right? So I did this masterclass for the Coaching Journey community on this specific topic. It's another free masterclass, so I'm happy to send you the recording. So that is specifically about optimizing a profile. Okay, so let's say, assuming you have an optimized LinkedIn profile, here are 3 types of posts that really work. And there was one person who has more than 100,000 followers and doing really well on LinkedIn. So I learned this from his team, what I'm going to share with you. Okay, so and to be conservative, let's say you're posting 3 times a week, which is what I recommend, a minimum of 3 times in a week, if you can do it. Okay, so the first type of post is called the business type. This is where you talk about what you help your clients with. For example, let's talk about this in detail. Anyone here is a leadership coach? I'd like to have a volunteer. Anyone is a leadership coach? I don't know if you can help me figure some. Meetu. Meetu, are you okay to be my volunteer?
Yes.
Okay, where are you? Can't see. Okay, now I can see it. Okay, good. So tell us something, Meetu. As a leadership coach, what do you really help your clients with?
I have mostly gone through organizations. So therein there is a layout that what that leader is missing out on. Like probably a test has been done, a training test, or maybe they're into PIPs and they need a promotion. So some areas to work upon is already decided with the HR, and I get that report, and therein we have a conversation like a kickoff with the client, and then there is an agreement that okay, these are the areas. Sometimes it's a little difficult when there is another stakeholder involved, but usually, and rest of it comes during the conversation. So it may not be the same as what we have been supplied with, So
Yeah.
that is how we.
Okay. So let's focus on the results, right? So as a result of the coaching, obviously they'll have some results. Yeah. So if you could give us examples of, let's say, the top 3 results. It can be in any order. Doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3. So what are they? The top 3.
Increase in the business revenue, because that was with a financial organization. So increase in the business revenue, the leadership growth, the growth of the leader as a leader. And the third was, what was the third one? Yeah, right now I'm not getting. Yeah, third one was how can leaders be a coaches too? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
that was the most difficult part.
Okay, thank you, Meetu, for sharing that. And thank you for being my volunteer. Let's give her a big hand, everybody. Okay, it's always nice to have volunteers. So here is the reason why I wanted to get Meetu to share this. Business type post is directly about what do you help your clients with, like straight to the point, right? So in this case, for example, one of the posts Meetu could write could be, let's say, 5 personality traits every successful leader has, or how leaders can become coaches in the new age, right? 5 blind spots every leader has to overcome or identify to increase their revenue. So these are examples of business type posts, like straight to the point, right? So one of the ways to identify what topics to actually write about, if you have a decent network of potential clients, you can actually reach out to them and ask them, let's say, for example, hi, Kannan, I hope you're doing well. I'm going to create my LinkedIn post for the next 1 month. If you don't mind sharing, what is your number 1 question in terms of how a leader can become a coach? So if you do this with 10 people, let's say 5 people respond, you have 5 topics. Yeah. So this is, in my opinion, the best way to create content that makes sure that people actually find it valuable, rather than you creating something on your own, which is okay. Radishta says, please, can you repeat? Okay. So what I was sharing is, if you reach out to if you have a decent network of potential clients, reach out to them and ask them what is your number 1 challenge regarding the main topic that you serve them with. And that will give you enough topics to write about, right? Sometimes you can write about limiting beliefs. Sometimes you can write about a case study of a client of yours, obviously maintain confidentiality, and share with them that success story. How did that person overcome their blind spots, etc., etc. Yeah. So yeah, that is business type post. And if you are writing 3 times in a week, at least 1 post should be about business type. Yeah. Very soon I share with you how to build a targeted audience and all that. I'll talk about that very soon after we finish this. So the second type of post is general positive type. So by the way, there is a specific outcome that you have for each of these kind of posts. Okay, I'm someone who believes in outcome-based thinking, which is being clear about what is it that you want out of a certain action. No rocket science. So the business type post is about communicating what is it that you actually serve your clients with. That's it. That's the outcome. And typically you may not get a lot of comments or engagement for this. And that's okay. In case you're not aware, I want to stress this, that just because you have a lot of comments and engagement doesn't guarantee you get clients. Okay. So if your goal is to get clients, don't bother much about getting a lot of likes or comments. If they come, it's great, but that's not the main way to get clients. So a general positive type is basically, so I'll screen share and talk about this. So it can be any topic that has a positive message. For example, okay, there is a book here. So how many of you are familiar with Louise Hay's work? Anyone has read the book or watched YouTube? Yeah, a lot of you. Yeah, awesome. So when I first came across Louise Hay's work, if you're not aware, she speaks a lot about self-love and forgiveness and things like that. So if you've read a book and you learn something valuable and you think your target audience might also find it valuable, you can write a post about that. The top 3 lessons I learned from, what's the name of the book? You Can Heal Your Life. Another book that I read some time ago was Atomic Habits by James Clear. Interesting book, right? So one of my biggest takeaways was, if you want to build a new habit, instead of trying to force and really struggle, what you do is you try to attach it with an existing habit of yours. And when I first read this, I was not consistent in terms of posting content on LinkedIn and all that. So what I realized was every morning I have a habit of having black coffee. So I thought, okay, let me experiment, let me try this. And I started to experiment on this, made my black coffee, and I sat down in front of my computer and write my LinkedIn post. Many times it was so exhausting and annoying, to be honest, when you see that cursor blinking and you don't know what to type. It's just so very, very difficult. But over time, it became a habit, right? So very soon, within a few weeks, that habit of having black coffee became connected with writing the LinkedIn post. So some time ago, I made a post about this. So are you getting my point? So it can be any general message. It doesn't have to be related to what you do as a leadership coach or communication coach or whatever. It is a positive message that is relevant to your audience. If maybe your dad or your mom or someone in your family gave you an amazing advice and it still helps you, you can write about that, right? If you learn something from your daughter or your son, that's also relevant. So it's about how we present it that matters, right? It has to be relevant for your audience, and it'll be really good if you make one key takeaway and not like multiple things. So one way to write this is, sometime like a few years ago, I was a member of Toastmasters, and one of my mentor in terms of public speaking, he told me this, that instead of writing a speech and then deciding the takeaway, you write your takeaway in one line first, and then you build your entire presentation around that. So I find the same advice relevant for content creation. So before you start writing, decide what is the takeaway that you have for your audience. And then you build your headline, your story, everything around that. Cool. Any questions here? Anyone? Okay. If you don't have any questions, it means you understood or you don't want to ask or all right, I'm just assuming it's the first one. All right, good. So let's talk about the third one. The third type of post is your values and beliefs type post. So what this means is maybe some of you have heard this thing that you have to share your personality online. And what I mean by that is not like making dancing reels and all that. What I mean is, what are your values and your beliefs as a person? And what you will realize is your best clients will always be the people who have similar values and beliefs as you. Yeah. How many of you agree with this? If you agree, put your hand up. So the people that become your best clients will always be people with similar values and beliefs. So for example, some of the posts you could write could be my top 3 values about success, or, the biggest belief I have about why coaches should become content creators, something like that. So making posts about what you believe or what you value. It can be about family. It can be about building a business. It can be about traveling, right? It can be about anything. So the idea here is the people who resonate with you, they will have more affinity towards you. And if they do not resonate with it, most of the time it means they're not your ideal client. And that is okay. We're not trying to attract everybody. We're trying to attract from a large group of people, those people who align with your values and beliefs. And they are the people that we want. Make sense? Okay, so these are the 3 types of posts that if you really think about it, and if you really start working on it, I can promise you, you will start to see better results in terms of better engagement, people reaching out, etc. Usually you get to see more comments and likes on the second type of post, because people on LinkedIn, they actually love to engage in conversations about these things. Anyone here follows Justin Welsh? Justin Welsh, anyone? So I'll type it in the chat. I would recommend that you follow this person. He actually is he even has a LinkedIn course. I did that course some time ago. So he has some really interesting things to talk about. And he's in the business of helping people build a one-person business, coaching business, consulting, any kind of business. Yeah. So I'd recommend you follow him. And his content is mainly about the 2 and the 3. There's lots of engagements, and because he has like, I think I'm over 1 million followers or something like that. Yeah, great. So now I'll share with you my strategy in terms of converting LinkedIn audience into clients. So this is purely based on what I have seen works, and I've helped many of my clients do the same thing. This is not based on any research or anything like that. It's purely based on what I've seen works. Okay. Number one, add new connections. I think LinkedIn allows up to 100 new connections in a week. So what I mean by this is, one of the trends that I have seen, especially for us coaches, is coaches are engaging on other coaches' posts, right? And if you look at the comment section, a lot of coaches will have comments from other coaches. So if your target audience are not fellow coaches, it's actually not very beneficial for you to get a lot of engagements from fellow coaches. For people like me, it's okay because my target audience are coaches, right? So the idea is you want to get at least like, love, support, the inside button, or the comments from your potential clients, your target clients. Okay. And I'll share with you some practical tips on this. So let me go back to Meetu, because Meetu was my volunteer. 1 second. I can't see you yet. Okay, now I can see you. So Meetu, at this moment, if you don't mind sharing, are you doing anything in terms of adding new connections or potential clients onto your LinkedIn audience?
Yes, I'm nearing about like I'm growing at least 1,000 in a year. Like
Great.
from
Okay.
last year to this year, it has been more than 1.5.
Great.
And engagements also have increased because not everybody engages with the post. So yes.
Okay. So do you mind sharing what are you doing in terms of adding new connections, like getting new people on your network?
So say my target is mid-level managers or senior managers, then I type senior managers and do a filter
Yeah.
and add them. And uh, it's not that I'm limited to senior managers because I'm also a new coach. So I'm also like moving towards my niche. As of now, I'm a life and leadership coach. So it's all a process of discovery. So I see like, who's approaching and who's liking my posts. So apart from the coaches, I type like CHROs or
Yeah.
give some filter, and that is how I add. And sometimes I get requests, personal requests also. So
Yeah.
it's been working. It's a slow process, I'll say very slow, but yeah, it's working.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So this is one way, right? If you're not doing it, I highly recommend you can type keywords related to the words that they might have on their profile. Senior manager, product manager, CEO, CXO, etc. That's one way. I'll share with you another way, and this is I haven't seen a lot of people do this. I discovered this a couple of years ago. So if you really look into major companies, right? For example, Tata or Bosch or Wipro, Infosys, most of these companies, they have their LinkedIn page, right? And if you just type Infosys or Wipro, you can actually see their page. And if you go into the post and if you actually look at who are the people liking it, loving it, or commenting, and click on those people's profile, you can actually see if they match with your ideal clients or not. Like, this is completely okay to do. There's no shady stuff here. It's completely okay for you to do that. So that is one way. And like, especially if you're targeting IT audience or any like manufacturing company, things like that, even ask ChatGPT, that list of top 10 manufacturing companies in India or in, let's say, UAE. And you find each of those companies' pages on LinkedIn, and you can actually see the people there. So send a connection request. By the way, I recommend that when you send a connection request, don't send it blindly. There's a button that says add a note. And when you send the connection request on the computer, you will see that. So please don't send the connection request through your phone, because till now, LinkedIn doesn't have a feature for you to add a note using on the mobile. So I recommend invest about 30 minutes every day, at least 3 or 4 days in a week, and do this on your computer, right? Let's say start with sending 5 new connections in a day and then slowly build it up. I think LinkedIn allows up to 100 new connections in a week. Yeah. So this is a really powerful way. And it's not just about companies, about communities as well. It's very like similar. For example, Lions Club or some XYZ community, you can actually see their pages. Now, a lot of them have pages on LinkedIn or even groups, right? So if they're active, you can actually find a lot of potential clients there. So my takeaway message is, don't just blindly post and expect people will come. You need to actively increase your network with the right people. Okay, because you might be posting great content, but if the wrong people are seeing it, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next part. Yeah, we talked about this. I recommend at least 3 times a week post. We talked about this as well briefly. Ask your audience what they want and write about it. So what I mean is, if you get stuck on what to write about, yes, I know ChatGPT can help. You can do that, but like make sure you edit it and make it look like it's a human writing the post, right? Don't just copy and post the same thing. So what I recommend is you can actually reach out to your audience members and say something like, hi, Aruna, I hope you're doing well. I'm writing my LinkedIn post about how leaders can become coaches. If you don't mind sharing, what is your number one question about this topic? Not everybody is going to respond, and that is okay, right? So the intention is not to find out post writing ideas. The intention is to also give value, right? You're not making a pitch. You're reaching out to ask for a content, a topic that if they're okay to share. And what you do is you can write about them, yeah. And I would recommend when you get a topic from a person, in the next 3 days or so, make sure you write a post about it, because then the momentum kind of dies down, right? So let's say you make a post about it within 3 days, copy the link to that post and send it to them and say that, hey, Aruna, I wrote a post about the topic you told me. Let me know your thoughts. And they'll really appreciate it. A lot of people, not everybody, okay? So what you can do is you've already demonstrated that you can be a person who can be trusted, right? You've built rapport, you've built trust. And this is going to be easier. This will make it easier for you to invite them for a discovery call. So you can actually say to them, if you find the post valuable, I'm a coach helping leaders, improve their coaching skills. If you'd like to talk about it, let's connect over a call. And then you find a time that works. So this is how you can translate cold connections into warm and then getting them onto a discovery call. So your goal is to get people from your LinkedIn profile to a discovery call, yeah? Because before somebody signs up to become a client, they need to have a discovery call, yeah? Or chemistry call, whatever you call it. So that is what I have seen works. If somebody reaches out to you by themselves, sends you a DM on LinkedIn, this is so much easier. If they have an inquiry, you can say that, let's connect over a call, I'll give you more details. But I'm talking about cold connections, yeah? Another way is to create polls and reach out individually. So what I mean is, let's say once or twice in a month, you can create a poll on LinkedIn. And it's very useful if you can make it a bit specific. For example, what is your number one question about like how to become, what is the number one challenge about becoming a coach as a leader? And give them 2-3 options. And after a few days, check who has engaged with the poll, right? This will actually give you specific data. And most of the time, there's not a lot of people that engage with it. So you can reach out to these people who engage with the poll and say that, hey, I noticed that you engaged with my poll. Thank you for doing that. I noticed that your number one question is da-da-da. Would you like to connect over a call? Many people would say yes, yeah? Is anyone overwhelmed already? Are you sure? Are you still here? If you are here, please unmute and say yes. I want to see some energy. Come on, everybody. If you're still here, yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Okay. So we'll continue. We have a few more things to talk about.
There is a question from Siddhaka asking, how do we measure the results of our posts and the content we are posting?
Okay. So to be very honest, what I know is the only thing that really matters is how many of those people who engage are ending up talking to you. So if you ask me, I would say if you're posting 3 times a week, 4 times a week, how many of those people are ending up on the discovery call? That is, I would say, a practical way to measure it. The algorithm, the engagements and all that, to be honest, I have no clue how these things work. And I've heard from many people that many people have seen a drop in engagements recently. And it seems like LinkedIn is promoting video content more. Some things are happening. So here's what I know. How many people are ending up on your discovery call? Yeah. So the last one is look at who has been engaging with you and DM them. So what I mean by this is if you are fairly consistent on LinkedIn, do not wait for people to message you by themselves, because a lot of people don't do that for their own reasons. So what you do is, if there are some people regularly commenting or liking or loving your post, look at your post and see the pattern, how many people are doing it consistently. And you can reach out to them and say something like, hey, Mitu, I hope you're doing well. I noticed that you have been engaging frequently with my posts. Thank you so much for that. So start with appreciating them, right? And most of the time they respond. And then you can say, let's connect over a call. I'd like to get to know you. So the intention is to connect with them, right? Not to like sell them something. So in that conversation, then you explore if they're looking for something that you can provide. Obviously, you will introduce yourself as well, right? So that connection call most of the time translates into a discovery call, and then it translates into a coaching engagement. Yeah. So don't wait for people to message you by themselves. Make it a point to look at who is engaging with you consistently, and then reach out to them as well. Yeah. Okay. All right. Wow. We still have some more things. I'll try to make it fast as possible. So the second one is content writing. We spoke about that. The next one is partnerships and collaborations, right? I'm sure everybody has heard about this term, and it's such a popular term these days, collaboration. So stop screen share for a moment. So the idea is, if you can collaborate with somebody who has access to your potential clients, that will help you like elevate your brand, like basically elevate both of your brands and serve that audience at a much deeper level. So I'll give an example. Last month, I went to an event called Indian Coaching Summit in Bangalore, and I met Dr. Silvaraj there. He's also attending the session. So it was done by this company called Indian Leadership Academy. They're one of the coach training providers in India. And there was one gentleman, his name is Rajkumar Sahu. Some of you might know him. So he runs this community called the Gardeners Hub. It's basically a community for coaches, and they have a few different services in addition to like peer coaching and all this. Yeah. So what I noticed was Rajkumar Sahu collaborated with the founder of Indian Leadership Academy, Mr. Kaushik. So he was talking about what he does and his community and all that. And this basically elevates both the brands. Indian Leadership Academy is providing coach trainings. And when people go through the coach trainings, what do they need help with? They need peer coaches. They need a community of coaches, all of this, right? So this person has collaborated with. So what I do in my business is I do sessions like this with many ICF chapters in India and abroad, and some coach training schools as well, because their students, when they come out of the training, they need help in terms of getting clients, right? So some of the people end up becoming my clients. So this is the power of collaboration. So the main thing to look for is find people who have access to your potential clients and build a collaboration with them. Find a win-win. Look at how you can add more value to their audience. And this is a long-term path to getting more leads. For beginners, for coaches, it may not be the right strategy, but I recommend if you're in the game for at least 6 months or so and have got a few clients, I recommend start working on collaborations, because it's a long-term way to get more leads and clients. Yeah. All right. The next one is masterclasses and workshops. So this is very closely connected to number 3. So when it comes to doing masterclasses or workshops, you can either do it on your own, like organizing everything on your own, which is very difficult, or you can organize it with the community. So if you have a collaboration, one of the things to do is, if you can offer to do a workshop or a masterclass for that community, most of the time it is free. You have a way to add value to that audience, right? Give a lot of value first, because if you believe that what you put out into the universe is what you get back, this is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to do that. So this allows you to have a lot of value first, and then people who are interested will reach out, or you can follow up with them. That's the power of doing workshops and masterclasses. Okay. Final one, becoming a speaker. So this is both online and offline. And in my experience, becoming a speaker is the best way to increase your visibility and to grow your personal brand. Anybody here is already a speaker or want to become a speaker? Put number 2 in the chat. Is interested to become a speaker or already? Okay, a lot of people. Wow, my people. Amazing. So if you are not already a speaker, I highly recommend consider this. I know public speaking is scary for a lot of people, but I really, really recommend you to consider this, because when you become a speaker, when you're on stage, whether it's online or offline, it puts you in a position of authority. And the truth is, most coaches don't do this. So if you add speaking to your skill set, you actually, differentiate yourself and separate yourself from the other pool of coaches who are doing similar things and offering similar messages. Yeah. So I'll share with you a practical tip on how to leverage speaking engagements to get more leads. Okay. First thing, create your speaker profile. Obviously, have a nice photo. Clearly mention who you work with, your certifications, etc. And if you have already done some speaking engagements already, mention that. If you have not done it, no problem, don't mention that. Search online for events related to your target audience. In fact, all of us have a best friend now on our phone. Who is that? An app, starts with C. Can anyone help me with that? Who is that? I'm surprised.
ChatGPT.
There you go. Yeah, ChatGPT. So in fact, you can actually ask ChatGPT, right? Upcoming leadership conferences in Mumbai, or upcoming life coaching events in Delhi, something like that, right? And before ChatGPT came, what I found was that you can actually search on Google, and I found a formula that works in terms of how you search, right? So it's like this: your niche plus conference or summit plus location. For example, leadership plus leadership conference in Dubai 2025, or leadership conference in Bangalore 2025. So that'll actually give you a list of all the events. And what I know from being a speaker is a lot of these organizers, they are actively looking for speakers. And many times there's a button that says apply as a speaker. Even if there's no button, feel free to reach out to the organizer and make an application. Yeah. By the way, I did another masterclass exclusively on this topic last year, how to use speaking engagements to get more leads and clients. In case some of you want the recording of that, just reach out to me. Yeah. That again, like a 90-minute session, so I can't talk about that more today. So review the information before you apply. So what I mean by that, look at their website, look at their brochure, look at everything that they are talking about in the conference, and you have to align what you are going to talk about to what the theme of the event is. Yeah. So make sure there's alignment, and review this, and then you apply. Okay. All right. We have come to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just summarize. So I gave you 5 promises. Number 1, 5 proven strategies to generate leads organically for your coaching business. How to build a targeted audience on LinkedIn and convert them into clients. The 3 types of content every coach must post on LinkedIn on a weekly basis. Why collaboration is one of the best ways to have long-term success. And how to leverage speaking engagements to get more leads. So if you think I kept my promise, please put yes in the chat if you think so. Okay. All right. Good. So thank you. So my message to you is this: start with any one way. You don't have to do all the 5. So in fact, I'll just quickly show you 5 ways that we spoke about. Give me one moment. So don't have to start with everything all together. You look at which one is the most practical one for you right now. If you have already worked with some clients, start with the first one, which is the warm reach out. If you're posting on LinkedIn and you want to make it better, incorporate the second one, the 3 types of posts I spoke about. If you have somebody who can collaborate with, go with that. If you can do masterclasses or workshops, do that. Or if you can leverage some speaking gigs, do that as well. Start with any one. You don't have to do everything together. Okay. So these 5 things, in my experience and what I've seen with other coaches, it's a very holistic way to get leads from multiple sources. And when you start implementing it, you will see results for sure. Okay. All right. Aruna, is it okay if I share my LinkedIn profile with everybody?
Yeah, we already shared with them. Anyway, you can share even now.
Is it? Okay. So please scan this QR code, and I'd love to connect with all of you. Many of you are already, we are connected. So please go ahead and scan this, and I'd love to connect. Awesome. So we have a Q&A coming up. Don't leave just yet. So let's take a group picture, right? Aruna, can we do that? Let's take a group.
Yes, I'm about to announce the same. I'm removing you from spotlight, and yeah, we request everyone to switch on your videos, please, so that we can have a group pic.
Yeah.
Me too. Will you help me there?
Turn on your camera, please, if you can. It'll be great.
Okay. Just one request. This QR code this seems to be deactivated for some reason. Maybe you could check
it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just share my LinkedIn profile. Let's take a group picture and then I'll do that. Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. Mithu, are you doing
show a gesture? You're most welcome. And I'm about to click, so you may all put on your smiles. Screen 1, screen 2. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
I just want to announce one thing, okay? We are putting the link for the feedback form in the chat. We would love to hear from you on how we can plan the future sessions and all. So please do engage with the form and fill it up and give us your suggestions.
Yeah. And please feel free to be transparent and direct. There's no need for any sugarcoating. Let us know what you liked and what you think would have been improved. So I've put my profile in the link. And now let's do the Q&A now. We have some more time, maybe 15 minutes. So anyone who wants to go with the first question?
Vasurao has raised his hand up.
Okay. Yes, Vasu. Where are you? I can't see you yet.
I'll spotlight him.
Okay. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Hi. Aki, thank you so much for the insightful session. Question is, you actually talked about the masterclass, the videos that are available. How do we get those and how do we connect for that?
Yeah. So just send me a message on LinkedIn. I've put my profile in the chat. So please connect and just send me a message, because that by itself is like a 1.5 session. So you'll get more in-depth insights into how to execute everything in that session. It's a free session. I did it another coaching community last year.
Thank you.
Okay, Sudhaka, yes. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you, yeah. So how did you cope with your confidence during the initial days when you started your career as a coach?
Wow, okay. To be honest, there was a long period of imposter syndrome. And one of the things that actually one of my mentor helped me with this thing, right? So what she told me, and she was at the time a PCC, now an MCC. So she told me that if you're really like thinking about how you will do as a coach, if you can, actually help people, etc., the people who come to you don't really care about that. Like what they really care about is, are you willing to listen without any judgment to their challenges and problems? And many times that listening, right, that experience, I mean, it's cliche, but this is what I have to say. We are taught this in coach training, right? If you just listen to the person properly, that creates a deep bond. And she said that just think about only doing that in the initial conversation and then make an offer and tell them what you can do. Don't make any over-the-top promises. She said that tell them, okay, these are your challenges. This is how I can help as a coach. This is the investment. And if they want to go ahead, that's great. And if they don't go ahead, she said, don't take it personally, because they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the offer that you gave at that point in time. This was a big lesson in rejections as well. And she said, just keep in touch with them, follow up every once in a while. And many times the person who may not sign up immediately, after a few weeks or a few months or a few years, they'll come back.
Thanks for sharing your experience and help me crossing me the hurdle.
Awesome. I'm glad it helped. Okay. Who else? Anyone else?
Just a minute. I will just clarify something. I think in our country, the form which I uploaded has some opening and closing password question. So please ignore that. No opening and closing password is required for this session. Just leave your suggestions and your email, correct email, where we can, your name in which you want it to be reflected in the CCU certificate, and your correct email, and we'll mail you the CCU certificate. So just to reconfirm again, no closing and opening password required.
Okay, awesome. So who wants to go with the next question? Anyone?
I have a question. I'm not able to raise my hand.
Yes. Where are you? I'm trying to find you. Is the camera on? Oh, no, actually, it's waiting. Meera, did you find any creative ways?
Yes, I was just about to raise my hand. Thanks for the attention. Yes, I did.
Okay.
I have a question. So I've been working in the corporate for the longest time as the head of learning and development, and now I'm starting my coaching journey full-fledged. I've been a weekend coach for the longest time. So now my niche is going to be empowering the IT women, that sector. Though I don't have an IT background, let me be very honest with you, but I still want to do it because I've seen and I've had my own observations. And I'm looking at junior to mid and mid to senior. Okay, because my niche here is women in IT sector. To start with, okay, and I have my 2 and 3 also, but that comes later. as I was. Now, when you said the viability of paying, right, and you said 35 and above, my heart also goes out to the young women, who really want to do, something in life. And I'm okay to make it nominal. Though I know money, business, I get that, but it's a mixed emotion there. I want to start in a different way. So, but now I feel with youngsters getting paid a lot and things changing, unlike my days, is that still a showstopper? I understand the viability part from a business standpoint, but is it okay? Because for me, the way I look at it is, if I give a product A, like junior to mid, they become my, good audience for the future. Because my idea is to bring that growth in them, right? And that's exactly where I want them to reach. Yeah. So is that okay if I I don't want to say the word risk, but can I play around with that a bit?
Yeah. I'll give you two options based on, and I've been asked this question many times over the last many years. So in my experience, there are two options you have. Option number one is, if you want to, at this moment, if you want to prioritize maximizing your impact not your income, not impact, from your business, you can have the 35 plus category as your main audience. Meaning, when you're promoting yourself on LinkedIn, workshops, speaking, etc., you're targeting that primary audience. Yeah. And you can still serve the other audience of younger people, but you're not promoting that very actively, especially on socials, right? Social media. You can tap into your existing network, reach out to people individually, connect with them individually. This is one way. Yeah. So the other way is, if you're not if making most money, as much money as possible is not your priority, because some coaches really want to do that. They want to maximize how much they're making because they want to replace it, the corporate job, with their income. If you don't have that challenge, you can go with what you told. Go with go with where your heart is, right? And test it, actively test it for 3 to 4 months. And then, like you said, that can be an audience for the future as well. Yeah.
Thank you. And the second question is, I do speaking sessions, and it's basically through advocacy. I don't really talk about it. But is it necessary that it has to be connected to your niche? Because I would like to talk on anything and everything, because I just love sharing. I don't want people to reinvent the wheel, your stories. Yeah. Intent. But obviously, when I introduce myself, I'm going to tell, I'm a visibility coach or leadership impact and visibility coach, and so on and so forth. So does that also work, or it has to be niche kind of a thing?
Great question. So again, I'm reminded of, so in 2017, I attended an international conference of Toastmasters in Bangkok. And there was a speaker, her name was Emily something, can't remember her surname. She had a great workshop, right? So I was one of the participants. And after the workshop was over, we had a tea break. So actually followed her and I went and told her, Emily, I loved your presentation. I need some advice. I want to become a speaker. So what advice do you have for me? My questions were also so vague those days. So the first question she asked me was, who is your audience? And my answer was everyone. And then she told me, if you target everybody, it's very difficult to get consistent engagements. So what I learned that day is the most important factor when it comes to speaking engagements is you have to know what the organizer or the community wants, right? So to answer your question, if what they want is not connected with your main niche, but is connected with your experience in other areas, it is completely okay. Yeah. But if they're looking for something else and what you're speaking about doesn't align with their theme, it doesn't. Yeah. So that's what I would say. Yeah. Because we know, right? It's not just about the niche. There are multiple things that are connected.
It's a package.
Exactly. Yeah. So oftentimes as a speaker, we'll have to go in with a different topic, because the main objective of speaking is to build the connection and the trust. So once you have it, any niche is okay once you have the initial trust and rapport.
Yeah, and I think you also made a valid point about the outcome, because if you go backwards, it kind of makes everything simple in that sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Great. So Pratishta, I think, is a person who raised your hand. Yes, Pratishta.
Yeah, hi. My question is, for somebody who is not from a corporate background but want to work with leaders, how do one approach the companies? Or is it even possible or viable, because of that strong barrier that is there?
Yeah. So your question is, you are not from corporate, but you want to target corporate, correct?
I am from corporate, but I was from the IT background. I'm not from a HR, L&D. So the way into the training or coaching field is not that open to me right now, what I faced. Means I don't know how to go approach them.
Okay. All right. So I'll share with you what I have seen works. Yeah. If you don't have a background in that, especially with corporate, you have to build some credibility first. And what I mean by credibility is if you can find 2 or 3 clients minimum on a pro bono basis, ideally somebody who's in a leadership position, right? If you really look into your network or your colleagues or somebody who studied with you in college, etc., it's not that difficult to find people in those positions. So what I would recommend is find 2 or 3 clients on a pro bono basis, really work with them for maybe a few weeks, right? And help them get results. Let them experience your coaching, because then you will have some credibility, right? And then leverage the relationship with them to get into that company. Like, talk to the HR or talk to the director or the CEO. So this is what I would do if I were you. And I've seen many people doing this successfully, because with corporate, it will really help if you have personal connection, right? Yeah.
Sorry, I have worked with leaders, but one of the leader even referred to the HR, but the HR already have that list of his own coaches.
Okay.
So that is not the route I was able to take. Not only one, I have worked with many leaders who have paid me directly, but not through the corporate. But I want to go to the corporates as well.
Yeah. So usually if you look at it from a macro level, there are 2 ways you can approach it, right? One is you can send cold pitch, like cold email or cold messaging on LinkedIn saying that, my name is so-and-so and I help leaders with so-and-so. If you're looking for help in this area, let's have a call. But the response will be very less, because these people, HR, training manager, etc., they get bombarded with so many messages every single day, right? So it's very difficult to get a response, but you can try that. And the second thing is to build a long-term game, which is to build relationships, right? So what you do is, usually with corporate, HR people are responsible to get you in the door. So there are a lot of events that HR people go to, like, HR Leader Summit, HR Conference, etc., etc. I think Meetu will know about that. No, Meetu, you have an HR background, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's true, isn't it? HR people like to go to events. So if you go to such events, Pratishtha, just for networking, you can build relationship with a few people and, leverage these relationships, and over time you can find opportunities. This is a slightly more difficult way to do it compared to the individuals as coaching clients, but these are 2 things you could try.
So, Akilesh, thank you very much for the question. Sorry for the question. Yeah. So we have Dr. Selvraj. We can take one more question because it's already 8:34.
Okay. Thank you, Aki. I think it's a wonderful session.
Thank you.
Though I think we got connected earlier, I just want to ask a question. Though my corporate training over more than 2 decades, I find most of the leaders are not spiritually aligned. How much in your experience you're adopting the kind of the oncology of your coaching, or how much the deep coaching which you really do it? Yeah.
Very good question. This is so important, and I wish the people who left, they get the recording, right? So your question basically is, there are a lot of leaders who may not appreciate the real essence of coaching, right? And how do we navigate that? So I'll tell you an on-ground reality, okay? Coaching as a concept is still pretty new, at least in our country. So the thing is, when you're a coach, and if you think like a business owner, I think everybody understands the thing about demand and supply, right? So anytime there's a lot of demand and then supply is less, you can increase the price, and then vice versa. So everything basically works according to this principle. So what I'm talking about here is, there are very few people, if you look at how big our country is, very few people who understand how coaching really works. And even if they understand it, there are even less people who are actually okay to go through that process, right? So the thing is, if you try to sell coaching as a concept and try to tell people why they need coaching, it is extremely challenging to get them as a client. So I'll go back to one of the things that I spoke about. You have to be clear about who your target audience is. So I have a good friend of mine. He's a PCC on the way to become an MCC. So he is working with leaders at top companies, and he's doing pure coaching. like pure coaching, the ICF way. He has managed to crack that code of getting leaders who actually appreciate the real essence of coaching and are okay to go with that. But a lot of coaches in the real world, we have to kind of mix mentoring and coaching a little bit, sometimes the training also a little bit. So the second way, this is the first way, right? Second way is you have to look at what are the challenges and problems they have. And everybody has it, right? And then you look at how can you as a coach help them with those challenges. And this is the easier way to get them to, sign up with you. Because they may not want coaching, but they want the results they want. And coaching is a process which will help them to achieve that. And I would highly recommend all of you to adopt the second way if you want to get clients faster. If you want to change the customer's behavior, their thinking, it takes a long time. And it is very difficult to try to convince people why they need coaching. It's very difficult. So go understand what they want, then show them how as a coach you can help them. Because we can do that, can't we?
Yeah. Most times I think we adopt most of transactional coaching. I'm interested to know about more of transformational coaching, right? In terms of the deep coaching in which I think you as a coach, how much you are really, spiritually aligned and take the kind of universe support and then, do your process.
So the thing is, one more thing I have seen is that in the beginning, it might start off like a transactional relationship, but as they go through the journey, they'll start to appreciate it more as long as they are committed to it, right? Then it'll kind of end up becoming a transformational thing. But there are very few people who appreciate it the way that you are saying. So as a business, it's difficult, but possible.
Yeah. This Leon is the guy who talks about the deep transformation.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. He's really, I think, doing a wonderful work in that area. I think most of our coaches adopt that kind of a deep coaching where I think you are spiritually aligned and then, so that is where I think you get the kind of, the connectivity with your the spirit or what you call God or whatever it is. These most times I think, it's not much talked about in, these areas. So. How much you adopt that kind of deep coaching in your process?
Me? Let's talk about that separately. Thank you, Aruna. Thank you, everybody, for being here and staying until the end. If you have not connected, please connect on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with all of you. Aruna, any last words?
Just wonderful job, Aki. Thank you very much. And I just invite Neetu to close the session. And we welcome everyone and encourage everyone to connect with Aki offline for, having such deep discussions. We'd like to be like a fly on the wall to really hear what the discussion will lead to.
Yeah, happy to connect.
Neetu, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So what a wonderful conversation we've had, and also an engaging one throughout. I feel privileged to extend our deepest thanks on behalf of Namma Chennai Charter Chapter. This webinar has been both insightful and an eye-opener on many crucial aspects related to the business of coaching, getting leads. And Aki, you answered all the questions so patiently and beautifully. I'd like to express the gratitude that you have generously shared your thoughts on many principles, tactics, triad of attraction. I'm just repeating what I learned from you. And the niche, target, backstory, elevator pitch. And I hope we are all able to grasp the content and work on it. Thank you so much for sharing your personal, multicultural, and international experiences also. Openness about the challenges you have faced and your authenticity is greatly appreciated by all of us. And thanks to Kannan for the warm welcome and our fantastic host, Aruna, for steering this conversation with such skill. A special thank you for making this event with Aki possible. And of course, to our audience, thank you for your presence, your thoughtful questions, and your engagement throughout in the chat. We hope this conversation helps all of us grow, and we look forward to see you at all our future events and make use of these inspiring discussions. Thank you all once again, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.